Hey everyone, it's Krista from Krista Irene Art, and today I'm going to walk you through my process for painting roses. I'm just using some basic red, dark reddish colors, green, gold. I'm using some pink, white, and I have some sparkly glue for the end. First thing I'm going to do is get a flat brush. Any flat brush will do, and I start with a circle where I want to place the first rose, and then I'm doing some half circles around it. You can think of it as a letter C in different areas around the main circle to give the shape of the rose. At this stage of the painting, you can just sort of take your time, map out where you want the roses to be in your main shade. This is just the first layer of the painting, adding some rose buds. Don't worry too much about perfection because you're going to be playing with it as you go on. The second phase of this painting is adding a lighter color at the edges of the rose where you think the light is going to be hitting it. A rose can have many different shades. I really like having a lot of colors in my painting. So I'm just adding a circular motion around each of the roses as well as that sort of half circle or a letter C. I'm filling in the buds a bit, not too worried about those, and then I'm going to go grab a darker red and a smaller brush. Going around again, but not covering all of the pink or all of the red, just giving sort of a gestural brush stroke to give the shape of different rose petals. I continue painting with the red, and then I grab the original color, that darker pink, and I'm highlighting some darker areas to create a little more contrast with the rose. So I do that with each of the roses, including the buds. Then I'm going to grab some white and I'm going to highlight around the rose just for a little more separation. When you're looking at a rose, you're going to see those little lines within the circle of the rose, the areas that make it look separated so you could see the petals sort of peeking through. And that's what I'm doing here. Just trying to highlight that circular motion so it's light tapping of the paintbrush, quick and easy just to create that illusion of petals with your paint. I'm starting to feel good about the way these roses look, and I'm going to give it a break and now focus on the background, which is a nice dark green. I have a flat brush and I'm not doing specific brush strokes. I'm just kind of filling in the dark green in the background because the texture of the roses is going to be the highlight of the painting, and this green kind of has to fade a little bit in the background. So I'm leaving bits of white also around the rose as I go. I'm not painting over the rose petals. And to avoid a flat looking painting, I'm adding a sort of a gold green. You can mix a little bit of yellow with the green that you have. I'm adding the gold green in the background as well, just to create some additional depth to this painting. Once I wrap this up, I go back to the main color that I was using. I add a little bit of purple to it, and I start highlighting again because the center of the rose is always going to be darker than the rest of the rose. So I'm showcasing that as I add this darker maroon type shade to the center of the roses to give it more depth and to highlight the petals a bit more. Once I complete this layer, I get the blow dryer out, the hair dryer out, and I dry it before I start on the next phase of the painting. So I dry it with the hair dryer, and once it's completely dry, I get my gold paint out. I get my gold paint and a flat brush, and I go over the petals really gently without thinking too much and with a very light touch, and I start adding gold. I'm going to paint over this a bit as well. I don't want the gold to stand out too much. I do want it to peek through when the painting is complete. So here you're going to see me just sort of having a lot of fun here with the gold. But I do know that I'm going to cover it up again with some paint so that it's just peeking through. And when I'm done with the gold, I get that dark green out again, and I'm going over the painting again with the dark green. I want the dark green to sort of fade, like I want that background to fade a bit, and I want the pinks and the purples to pop out. So I'm covering some of the gold, but not all of it, and some of that lighter green with the dark green. One of the things I did like about this painting is I liked the outline of the white around the roses, so I just sort of played around with that and highlighted the outline of the roses a bit more. I don't mind that the white and the green sort of blend. And then I take some white again and I just gently touch around the rose. This is a very small brush, just sort of playing around to further highlight the petals. And in again with the green, I want it to fade a bit, so I'm covering some of that white up with the darker green, creating those beautiful, rich, dark green petals around each of the roses. I'm really liking the look of it. I'm trying to mute the background a little bit with, I took the green, added some white, and I'm just sort of touching it up. And again with the white, going over it with the white again. Now I'm just sort of playing and fine-tuning the painting. I'm really liking the way it looks. Sometimes I overdo a painting, so one of the hardest things to learn when you're painting is when to stop. I have a whole video about that, when to stop. So I know I'm getting close to stopping. I'm using a very small brush to add just some minor details to each of the roses. And I continue to highlight and try to create separation of the petals in each of the roses with the white. Sometimes when you have a painting with such rich colors like the dark reds and the purples and the greens, it's nice to have some white to break it up a bit and allow the eyes to rest so that you're not, you don't just have a whole bunch of color coming at you. So that's what I'm doing here. Once I get to this point, I blow dry the painting again for it to dry, and I add my glitter glue. I'm just taking the glitter glue and highlighting the rose petals. Once I've finished that, I go back in with the lighter green. Now that I've added the glitter glue to the roses, I know the roses are complete. And so now I'm just sort of touching up the background with some lighter green. And I go in again with the dark green, trying to create the illusion of petals. And this is the painting. I'm finishing it up right now. I really like all the textures, as well as the glitter and the gold. I just find it really brings the painting together. And you're going to see, I'm going to show you the final result. Thank you guys. I hope this video helped you when you paint your own roses.